Welcome to the Chic Assignment check-in for May 2022. Hello everyone, Jennifer L. Scott here, and welcome to the Chic Assignment check-in for May. I'm so excited to dive into the life of Felix Mendelssohn and to read Robert Louis Stevenson's poetry to you, and we can just bask in the glory of arts and culture in today's video. I would like to thank the Chic Society, which is the private membership group here on my YouTube channel, The Daily Connoisseur. The Chic Society is a wonderful place where we have a vodcast each Friday, and we do a Zoom call once a month where we get to see each other, and we even have a pen pal program. You're seeing some of the upper tiers here, and at the end of this video I'm going to give recognition to the elegant connoisseurs, and they are high patrons of the channel, and many of them are artists, writers, or they have their own unique businesses. So thank you to the Chic Society for funding the Chic Assignment. Chic Assignment number 1 was to listen to Felix Mendelssohn's Song Without Words, Opus 19, number 1. This is such a beautiful piece. It just flows, and it's just God-inspired. That's the only way I can describe it. And I assigned a performance by Daniel Gortler, and I know many of you really enjoyed that this month. I have 6 interesting facts on Felix Mendelssohn to share with you today. Some of these facts are from Classic FM, and some of them are from cmuse.org, so I will leave all the resources for you down below. So Jacob Ludwig Felix Mendelssohn Bartholdy was born February 3rd, 1809 in Hamburg, Germany, and he died November 4th, 1847 in Leipzig, Germany. And before we jump into his facts, I just want to briefly share about Songs Without Words, which is a series of short lyrical piano songs by Felix Mendelssohn. And they were written between 1829 and 1845. Now there is a 2-hour-long performance of all the Songs Without Words on YouTube, and it's so amazing. I played this a lot throughout the month, so I will leave that link down below in case you want to dive more into that beautiful piece. Okay, so let's learn about Felix Mendelssohn. Starting off with Queen Victoria's tribute. So Queen Victoria described Mendelssohn as the greatest musical genius since Mozart. This is what she wrote. And the most amiable man. He was quite worshipped by those who knew him intimately, and we have so much appreciated and admired his wonderfully beautiful compositions. We liked and esteemed the excellent man, and looked up to and revered the wonderful genius and the great mind, which I fear were too much for the frail, delicate body. With it all, he was so modest and simple. So that was Queen Victoria's tribute to Felix Mendelssohn. So let's find out how we got there, because interesting fact number 2 is that Felix Mendelssohn was, this will be no surprise to anybody, a child prodigy. Felix Mendelssohn came from a wealthy Hamburg family who mixed with many of Germany's leading artists and musicians. He was a very clever child prodigy in that he excelled as a painter, poet, athlete, linguist, and musician. So he wasn't just a prodigy in the world of music, he also painted, he was a poet. I mean, it's pretty inspiring to think that a child could be that interested in so many different subjects. Interesting fact number 3 is that some people think that he feigned the appearance of the pained romantic. So this was an opinion from cmuse.org, and I thought it was kind of funny. So they wrote, Felix Mendelssohn had a very easy life as he came from a wealthy family, but he still managed to wear the cloak of the pained romantic. Sometimes it is difficult not to think that he might be faking it. This is their words, not mine. He suffered no disappointments, no lack of success, and had no real axe to grind. Hardly fertile ground for a romantic. And interesting fact number 4 is that all of Mendelssohn's concertos were written in minor keys, as if to cultivate the notion of self-indulgent. So when we think of the Romantic era, we think of, or I think of Percy Shelley, for example, and what a hot mess his life was, all the struggle. I shouldn't laugh, but you know what I mean, all the struggle. And, or you think of the pained artist, but Felix Mendelssohn really had a blessed life. He was a child prodigy, came from a wealthy family, he met success everywhere, but he still was in that romantic movement. So I think that that's quite interesting. Interesting fact number 5 was that Felix Mendelssohn was also a painter. Mendelssohn was an excellent watercolor painter. He also maintained an enormous correspondence which demonstrates his wit. Sometimes he would draw sketches and cartoons in the text of his letters. So he loved writing letters, and how I would love to read his letters. Interesting fact number 6 was that he was happily married to a woman named Cecile. So Mendelssohn's stable family upbringing no doubt contributed to his own very happy marriage in 1837, which gave him 5 children. His wife was Cecile Charlotte Sophie Jean Renaud, the daughter of a French clergyman. Cecile died in September 1853, less than 6 years after her husband. Let's talk about his untimely death. So Mendelssohn suffered from poor health in the final years of his life. A hectic final tour of England left him exhausted and ill. He died aged 38 after a series of strokes. Mendelssohn once described death as a place where it is to be hoped there is still music, but no more sorrow or partings. So that is all about Felix Mendelssohn, and I hope you enjoyed learning about him as much as I did. Chic assignment number 2 was to enjoy the poetry of Robert Louis Stevenson. I'm going to read a very brief biography to you, and then I have a few Robert Louis Stevenson poems that I can't wait to read to you. Robert Louis Stevenson was a Scottish novelist, poet, essayist, and travel writer. He was born on November 13, 1850 in Edinburgh, Scotland. He is best known for his evergreen works Treasure Island, Kidnapped, and The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Born to middle-class parents, Stevenson was an only child. He spent a difficult childhood suffering from chronic health problems due to which he was mostly confined to bed. Entering into youth, Stevenson was highly influenced by Alison Cunningham, his nurse, who would often read the Pilgrim's Progress in the Old Testament to him. To follow his father's footsteps, Stevenson was sent to study science at Edinburgh University to become a civil engineer. But Stevenson was not interested in studying science. He wanted to be a writer, but his dad was not too happy about that. Stevenson's writings and life were both heavily influenced by his city, Edinburgh. He experienced 2 faces of the city. One was the religious, respectable, conventional town, while the other face was that of a more bohemian town with brothels, shady characters, and underhanded dealings. So through the 2 juxtapositions of what he observed in his favorite city, that's where The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was born. In 1873, Stevenson suffered from a severe chest condition and nervous exhaustion, due to which he was advised by his doctor to go abroad and rest for an extended period of time. So he spent 6 months in the south of France, and during this time he was writing. Slowly, Stevenson's name started appearing in significant publications. During this time, he met Fanny Vandergrift Osborne, an American woman who was 10 years older than him. Osborne was visiting Europe to escape from the estranged relationship with her husband. Despite this, Stevenson resumed his relationship with Osborne and eventually went after her to San Francisco, where the 2 married in 1880 after her divorce. Stevenson achieved great literary success beginning in the late 1870s. In 1889, Stevenson bought a 300-acre estate in the hills of Apia, Samoa, where he lived for the rest of his life. He died at the age of 44, a few hours after suffering a brain hemorrhage on December 3rd, 1894. So that was another tragic loss of a young individual. So what a shame that he died so soon, but what a legacy he left behind. And now I'd like to read a few poems to you from A Child's Garden of Verses. This is his poetry book. And while he was ill, he liked to write poetry about his childhood. He loved to reflect on his childhood. Even though he was sickly when he was a child, he had a very strong connection to his nurse, Alison Cunningham, which we talked about at the beginning of the last Chic assignment. So I'm going to read a few poems to you, and what I love about his poems are the natural whimsy that he captures and the true feeling of childhood. Let's begin with The Land of Storybooks by Robert Louis Stevenson. At evening when the lamp is lit, around the fire my parents sit. They sit at home and talk and sing, and do not play at anything. Now with my little gun I crawl, all in the dark along the wall, and follow round the forest track, away behind the sofa back. There in the night where none can spy, all in my hunter's camp I lie, and play at books that I have read, till it is time to go to bed. These are the hills, these are the woods, these are my starry solitudes, and there the river by whose brink the roaring lions come to drink. I see the others far away, as if in firelit camp they lay, and I, like to an Indian scout, around their party prowled about. So when my nurse comes in for me, home I return across the sea, and go to bed with backward looks at my dear land of storybooks. This one is called The Flowers. All the names I know from nurse, gardener's garters, shepherd's purse,
bachelor's buttons, lady's smock, and the lady hollyhock. Fairy places, fairy things, fairy woods where the wild bee wings, tiny trees for tiny dames, these must all be fairy names. Tiny woods below whose boughs shady fairies weave a house, tiny treetops, rose or thyme, where the braver fairies climb. Fair are grown-up people's trees, but the fairest woods are these, where if I were not so tall, I should live for good and all. And this book is just enhanced by Tasha Tudor's beautiful illustrations. I love this one called Windy Nights because it gets really windy where we live and we have many of them here, so I think he captures this beautifully. Whenever the moon and stars are set, whenever the wind is high, all night long in the dark and wet, a man goes riding by. Late in the night when the fires are out, why does he gallop and gallop about? Whenever the trees are crying aloud and ships are tossed at sea, by on the highway low and loud, by at the gallop goes he. By at the gallop he goes, and then by he comes back at the gallop again. This one captures the nature of childhood play really well. It's called A Good Play. We built a ship upon the stairs, all made of the back bedroom chairs, and filled it full of sofa pillows to go a-sailing on the billows. We took a saw and several nails, and water in the nursery pails, and Tom said, let us also take an apple and a slice of cake, which was enough for Tom and me to go a-sailing on till tea. We sailed along for days and days, and had the very best of plays, but Tom fell out and hurt his knee, so there was no one left but me. I absolutely love that one because every child loves to build a fort, and clearly this is nothing new because they were building them back then, even on the stairs. And let's end this poetry reading with The Land of Counterpane. When I was sick and lay abed, I had 2 pillows at my head, and all my toys beside me lay, to keep me happy all the day. And sometimes for an hour or so, I watched my leaden soldiers go, with different uniforms and drills, among the bedclothes through the hills. And sometimes sent my ships and fleets all up and down among the sheets, or brought my trees and horses out, and planted cities all about. I was the giant great and still, that sits upon the pillow hill, and sees before him dale and plain, the pleasant land of Counterpane. So I just want to close with one observation that so many of the artists we study, the artists and the writers, the poets, and the composers, they have a period of convalescence. Many of them are ill. Do you notice this? There was Frida Kahlo. Last month we studied Henri Matisse, the same thing, Robert Louis Stevenson. A lot of them that we've studied in the past have had serious illness, either as children or later in life. And it's during these times where they allow their imagination to really explore. I find that interesting. So we can look at periods of convalescence differently and maybe not feel so sorry for ourselves, but think, how can I make this good? What can I explore during this period of my life where I'm not able to do what I normally am? Okay, chic assignment number 3 was to wear a piece of jewelry that you have not worn in a long time. Now this is a very interesting experience for me. And today I'm wearing this beautiful gemstone necklace that I've had for a very long time. In fact, one of you mentioned it in your comment and it reminded me to wear it because I typically only wear this on special occasions, but I thought that I would wear it for this video. And this was a beautiful necklace that Ben gave me many years ago. And it has matching earrings set too with it. So the reason why I don't wear some of my older jewelry is because I keep it in a different jewelry box, not my everyday box. So I think that that's interesting. I think if you store your jewelry, make sure you rotate it and check out what you have because sometimes you can forget. So I would love to hear what your experience was bringing out your old pieces and beloved pieces and wearing them again this month. And finally, chic assignment number 4 was to write down your strategy for keeping calm and remaining classy. I don't know if that was the exact wording I used in the original chic assignment, but basically we want to have a strategy to help us remain calm in times of stress or when we're dealing with someone who's pushing our buttons. Earlier this month, I shared a video called 5 Ways to Take the High Road and Remain Unbothered. And if you haven't seen that video yet, I will put it in the iCard up above. But that video has a whole 5-point strategy plan to help you remain calm. And we're in this together. That's what you have to remember. You are not alone. There's a whole community here who supports you. So I hope that you found that video very helpful. I write these things down. In fact, I've got my journal right here. I keep this Moon Phases journal. This is from Design Works Inc.
and I'll leave it down below. But I put in here, this is all my self-work, like how I'm working on myself. So I like writing it down. I like reading this every now and then, just flipping open and seeing what my notes are. So I think that it's a really good idea, and it will help you, because when you are dealing with a situation where you're very stressed or something unexpected happens, it's easy to lose your cool and let everything that you've worked on fly out the window. So it's good to always revisit it by writing it down. And now I would like to share the elegant connoisseurs with you.
Alan Watt from the 90-Day Screenplay with the LA Writers Lab. Bernadette M. Petrata from Polite Society School of Etiquette. Jenny Williams from Carrot Top Paper Shop. The Chef on the Shelf by Valerie Yanez. Elaine Brisebois, Certified Nutritionist and Women's Weight Loss Coach. Emily McNeil, Fine Art. Ashley Buffa, Freedom Mom Smart Kid Chore System. Guy Blaze, author of Love Like the French. Mrs. Hanover from the Not So Desperate Housewives blog. Indiana Davis from Willow Nook Seasonal Subscription Box. Carrie Van Hooser, author of 'Tis the Season for Poetry. Nicole Brignol, founder of Lovely Bits. Macondo Forever Woven Placemats. Sarah Miller from sarahmillerjewelry.com. Mrs. Shockley from A Home for Elegance. Teresa Maples from Self-Care Routine Cards. Sarah Morgan Wellness. Alan Scottish Shortbread. Sturm Brothers Custom Design and Fine Jewelry. And thank you to the following: Catherine Ray, Adelaide Beer, Carly Tom from Living in Loveliness, Gabrielle Julie DeBear, Janice Leitner, Jenny Candelaria, Jet Raleigh Heron, Gina K. Henry, Juliette Keeler-Lebin, Julie Coleman, Linda Eckloff, Marie Caudill, and Maria Condor.
Thank you so much to the Chic Society for bringing us this wonderful chic assignment. I hope that you enjoyed it, and please let me know what your findings are down below. You could use the hashtag #TheChicAssignment on social media. In the meantime, keep calm and remain classy, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye, everyone.